Yo people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. Another live stream, another W collected this weekend, and hey, a little bit of Tottenham Arsenal reaction, and no better man to join me. It's the man, the myth, the legend, the South Londoner. It's Younes.
That was world class, flipping hell. Yes, Matisse, thank you, man, thank you. Good to be on.
Man, as a fellow in South London, it's great to have you on. I know we had our little banter on Twitter back and forth. I was like, hold on a second. I could be battering with another South Londoner on YouTube. This has to happen. This has to happen. And the people are crying out for the collabs. They're crying out. They love you, Younes. You are the GOAT, the OG of YouTube for Chelsea. How does it feel to have that tag, by the way? Any pressure that comes with that?
No, I appreciate it. Thank you. I mean, I'm not the actual OG, one of the older ones, yeah, but I'm not the oldest. I thought I was the oldest, but at the time, I don't know if you came across Joe Zeka.
I did not. I must have been still in my dad's ball bags at that time.
Well, I sound old. Flip it up. But I remember I started and I had 2,000 subs or something. And yeah, I came across Joe and I'm like, oh crap, I'm not the only one. But yeah, since he's stepped aside and he's living the family life and all that now. Yeah, man, I guess I'm the oldest one. It's good. I enjoy it. It's it's experience there. So it's nice. It can't be handy.
Literally, man. Well, let's get on to that North London derby reaction immediately. I said to the people on Twitter, I'm gonna add it to the title after this is live. I forgot because I didn't realize it'd be so funny, man. It's like Arsenal's that club where I thought it wouldn't be funny anymore to bully them because it's like picking on the kid that just keeps on taking L's. It's not really fair anymore, but it is hilarious. I mean, Tottenham, we had them last weekend, so we know exactly how it goes against Tottenham. We limited them and Son and Kane to one shot on target throughout 90 minutes. We missed a couple chances ourselves. We could have easily have won that game. And then what do we see? Arsenal go and do exactly what you're not meant to do against Tottenham. Allow Kane and Son to run riot. And here we are, 2-0, I think, the final score, isn't it?
Yes, 2-0, man. You nailed that. I don't understand the way that Arsenal set up or the way that Arteta thought would be the ideal way to beat a Jose Mourinho team. Especially, you just know that they are so well drilled. They are so defensively solid. You're just going to play into their hands. You look back at the Chelsea game, Chelsea-Tottenham, and now that looks like a great result. It's an afterthought. 0-0, keeping Son and Kane quiet. Well, we're flipping. Now we know we are solid. Especially at the back. We are solid now. And we've gained confidence from tonight's result. It's crazy the way that Arteta just set them up with showing Spurs a little too much respect, but at the same time not showing enough quality to try and threaten. It was poor. It was just poor. Tottenham they found it easy.
I find myself looking back at a lot of Chelsea results and saying that we were actually better, or we need to give ourselves more credit and Lampard more credit than we did at the time. And this is another one of those instances. There were some people that were really frustrated against Tottenham, and I was too. Don't get it twisted. I wanted to win the game. I felt like, if we brought Giroud on earlier, we saw his goal this weekend. That he can make those near post runs from Reece James's crosses and get on the end of them. I felt like we could have won the game. It was definitely there for the taking. However, defensively, and the balance that Lampard kept throughout that game in a very tight game, it could have went either way. I know Jose Mourinho parked the bus, but he also parked the bus because he wanted to counter and maybe create more space for Son and Kane on the break. Did it against Man City to a T. Against them, and I felt like they kind of, it looks like we dominated in the second half, which we did, but that's also part of the trap that Mourinho sets, is he wants you to dominate so he can break and get that winning goal. So in his post-match thoughts, he was saying he wanted to win the game. I think he did. He just went about it in the most negative way possible. And we need to give ourselves more credit, man. We defended very well in that game. We got a clean sheet, and that's not easy to do against Tottenham, as Arsenal are proving. Troops is Arteta out. Talk to me, Younes. Is that the main problem at Arsenal? Because I don't think it is. Emery, Wenger. How many more times are we going to play this game, ladies and gentlemen?
It's not going to end. It's not going to end. It's the Arsenal way. It's the Arsenal way, man. No, look. I think Arteta, to be fair, he didn't arrive just yesterday. Yeah, like he's been in the job the same amount of time, or actually he came in just after in December, so just after Lampard had come to Chelsea, pretty much. Lampard joined in July, December, Arteta joined. You would think there'd be something going by now, but they're 15th. They're 15th, and when you look at that team sheet, when you look at them on paper, it's not a crap side. Let's have it right. They're not, they're not Stoke. All due respect, but they're not nobodies. They have good players there. You got Lacazette, Aubameyang. We like to, throw a little shade at Willian and whatnot, but still, you can get something out of him. Their defensive line, they got the speed of Bellerin. Like they've got attributes that they have there you can use. It's just I don't know what's going on. But the overall problem at Arsenal, it's not Arteta. It will never be the manager. It was the same under Wenger. You think Wenger is a rubbish manager? He's not. Wenger is a legend of the game. We know this, and you have to be honest. The Kroenkes and the structure at Arsenal Football Club will keep that club down until they go. It's as simple as that. That's how I see it anyway.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think, we can nitpick at different things that can improve at Arsenal. The manager needs to improve himself. He's been very negative for me playing a back five. He reminds me very much of, I think we all got gassed as rival fans, and even Arsenal fans definitely took the high and ran with it. His first press conference, he was speaking about angles and symmetry and maths and stuff like that. He was really talking the good talk, but it hasn't come to fruition on the football pitch. However, I have to give Arteta a little bit of slack, even though he's playing like prime Southgate with 5 at the back and not getting the best out of Aubameyang. He's still got a rubbish board ahead of him. Do you know what I mean? And it's crazy because at the same time, when I say that, they did spend this summer. They did get Gabriel. They did get Partey. However, I did feel like they needed a bit more. So until he gets all of his players in, I can't come down on him too much. The last thing I want to talk about before we move on to Chelsea matters, which is far more positive, ladies and gentlemen. Sarri to Arsenal. That was a rumor that came up this week. How do you feel about that? Because obviously we know him inside out.
Yeah, I saw that, and I thought, oh, you know what? That might actually work. Weirdly, I wouldn't be scared. Like I wouldn't feel threatened. But I think with the circumstance that Sarri needs at a football club, not that many transfers, an attacking brand of football. I'd say to an extent. I mean, Jorginho would become an Arsenal player overnight. I think that's for sure.
Yeah, he would. He was linked with them earlier on in the season. So
yeah. So it would be interesting. The fact that Sarri now has a little bit of Premier League experience. Yeah, the only thing that Arsenal would be required to do is build a new dugout where there's a smoking area for Sarri and his packets of cigarettes. But that's honestly it. That's honestly it. I think I wouldn't feel threatened. But I think it could work for them.
Yeah, I think it would certainly be an improvement because there's a clear plan, style, identity, and what Sarri wants to do. He's very rigid. He's very stubborn. I did enjoy his time in charge because I do think he transitioned us from negative, counter-attacking football to, a team in possession. However, looking back on it, he was never really going to be here long term. I don't think he was buying into, maybe all of the when you play Football Manager and you had that meeting with Mourinho in the little interview, in the little private chat, and it's like, are you going to meet all of the requirements that I want, you to do in your chart? And Sarri's like, I don't know. I don't know. I like you guys. I do like you guys, but there are some other things we're going to have to change around here. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Us being interested in, like, what was it? That Napoli right back? Was it like Hajir?
Yeah, Haisage.
Haisage. And Reece James is just chilling. I'm like, bro, come on now, that's a bit wrong. So look at us now. Look at him now. Yeah, exactly. Imagine not having Reece James in this team. I actually would have cried. Do you know what I mean? And it's a great transition, by the way. We do this on purpose. Arsenal to Chelsea, just like that through Sarri. Chelsea, talk to me. What a performance yesterday. That first half was so iffy because I'm one of these people that record my first half reaction at halftime so I can get my raw reaction to that half, and I don't want it tainted by the second half. And thank God, because it was two different completely moods. I think the first half was very erratic. Second half, we just completely took control of the whole game. Yeah,
big time. First and foremost, I like that. What you say that you do, where you record first half and then later on you record the second. That's a good idea because it does give you a clear perspective of what you've just seen. So that's a really good shout. But yeah, you're right. Overall, look, I thought we progressed into the game. Normally, in that circumstance where we go 1-0 down early, if this was last season, we would have thrown it away. We would have bottled it. hands down. And the fact that Leeds, before that, they had won. So every game that they've gone in front, right, away from home, they've gone on to win. So 25 games, 25 wins. And yesterday, we had to change that for them. So, honestly, it's nice to know that after going 1-0 down, even so early, there's still that faith now and that confidence has come back that, we got this, don't worry. And we showed that throughout the first half. We progressed, got into the latter stages of the first half, and it was getting better. Leeds started to step off, but the second half we took complete control. And that was really good to see. Some really good performances, and we needed those 3 points. We really did, because if we didn't, I think at that point there'd be a little bit of worry seeping in. But we grinded it out. We were solid. We didn't allow Leeds back into the game, and it was a hard game. Leeds are a good side, and we knew this. They play a very, very attractive, nice brand of football, which is so unique, and they got weird combinations that only a Bielsa, I think, can manage. But we managed it well, so I'm really happy.
Yeah, man, I completely agree. I think last season we had a really poor record when we went down by a goal. We rarely came back. This team's mentality was definitely up for question. We had a lot of the old reign here as well. Different players built for different systems, and some old heads that maybe, where we needed to get them out. And I think Lampard said it himself beautifully against Sheffield United. I've learned a lot about this team, and he did. Ever since then, we've chucked out like half the 11. Do you know what I mean? There's been a squad overhaul in one window, and he's getting the mentality in that he wants to see. And even I think it's really impressive how we've managed to comfortably come away with a 3-1 win against a very intense, attacking Leeds team. When you go down to Leeds, they don't rest. They continue to keep attacking. Timo and Kai, who we'll get onto very soon, they're big talking points at the moment. They weren't having great games, but we still managed to win comfortably. That's got to give us confidence going into the future, hasn't it?
Yeah, no, big time. And the crazy stat that I saw yesterday, I think you've seen it as well.
Yes.
How we outran Leeds by 6 kilometers. I mean, I didn't realize. I didn't realize. It's mad. It's mad. I didn't realize. I saw the last sprint of Timo Werner for the third goal, where he was on the right-hand side, and he bombed forward like it was minute 1. And I thought, wow, that's impressive. But when I saw that stat afterwards, we outran Leeds United, who just don't stop running. They are 11 horses. Their fitness is ridiculous. And we outran them by 6 kilometers. It goes to show the work at the training ground and what we are actually doing, and the intensity that Lampard and his coaching staff have implemented into this team is something that a lot of fans, I don't think, have realized until maybe yesterday. So it's we're definitely doing bits. We're doing.
You're spitting facts, baby.
No,
you know what I mean? I remember when I tweeted, I was like, oh, maybe we should have sent Loftus at the start of the season, because I wanted Loftus-Cheek to go to a possession-based team, and I feel like I said something like, oh, maybe we should have sent Loftus-Cheek to Leeds, and people were like, are you trying to kill him? At Leeds, they'll absolutely, fitness-wise, they'll kill him. They'll never see the light of day ever again. And I think yesterday, they, like I said, they've been doing it all season. They're like, when you play goalie rush, that's what Leeds remind me of. They're nuts. They're like, when you're playing in the cage, like 6-a-side with your mates, and it's just high intensity because there's no ground.
Yeah, fully.
It's like going pits. That's basically what it is. I have to get onto this first comment. I'm going to be going through comments as usual, guys. So leave your thoughts down below, please. No trolling today, all right? Don't. We had a madness last chat. Some of you were moving mad, and we've got a PYS impersonator in here as well. I've only just realised this. He's not actually PYS. It's not PYS. It's someone pretending to be PYS, and saying stuff that they think PYS would say. It's absolutely shambolic. What a plan. This first comment, Matisse, we need to respect Kante more. Yes, we do. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm making a public service announcement. You already know I had doubts about Kante playing this role. I think I was in my rights. He's never really played this role. I think we've only seen it once against Arsenal under Kante, and it wasn't great. But I said I had 2 tests. It was Tottenham and Leeds. 2 very different tests. Kane dropping deep, and then obviously Leeds high press, and he's passed both of them. So I'm fully on board the train if you'll still let me on. Do you know what I mean? If you're still selling tickets, I'll jump aboard. And I think the one thing I've learned, and Younes, I think I want to get your take on this with Kante as well. Sometimes I forget just how intelligent this man is. He's played 3 different positions at Chelsea. He's played the pivot in the title-winning season. He's played box to box under Sarri, and he adapted to that very quickly as well. And then now he's playing lone DM, and I wasn't confident. I was worried, so to speak. I was definitely worried. about him receiving possession in that zone. I think he's good. He's a good footballer. You know, he dribbles out of press. I think we saw it in the Super Cup last season against Liverpool. He's very good on the ball, nuts in players and whatnot. But in that position to receive it, it's a different place. You know, you're in a different zone. And Chelsea have, you know, sometimes they bypass him and they go straight to the eights through Thiago Silva to Mount. But Kante's been brilliant. What have you made of him, man?
Yeah, he's been world class, man. World class. There was that doubt that, he can't play as a DM. Like the whole saga of last season was just a massive debate in the Chelsea fan base. Just, Kante play him DM? And the other lot going, no, he can't play DM. He's got to play alongside someone. And look at him now. He can do both. Yeah, he can do both, man. He can do both. It's every time I talk about Kante, I always just say, look, it's Kante. And that's it. That should just be the consensus. You know, the man is intelligent, very reliable. For his size, he is super strong. I think he gets slightly underrated by some people, not necessarily Chelsea fans, but because he's tiny, he's not physically dominant. Whereas I've seen games where he's barging men that are like 7 foot tall. It's ridiculous. So Kante is vital. There was the whole thing about Jorginho playing in that position and the way that you can build an attack from deep, and I think that got to everyone's heads and made everyone forget what Kante can actually do. But defensively, we just look so much more solid. And even when building an attack or we're on transition, Kante still contributes, and we see like he's still really agile, and he can still get past players and dribble and pick out the right pass. It's not like he can't do the job. And right now, like yesterday, you know, wasn't necessarily a game where it was all based around him. But he's still a contender for man of the match, and that goes to show you.
I have to agree. And I think it's been difficult for Chelsea fans because we've had, in the last, 3 managers now, we've had 3 completely different systems, ideologies, plans. You know, we've gone from Kante 3 at the back, and sometimes counter-attacking, but very entertaining at times. You know, that game at home to Everton, for instance, and away to City, I loved it. And then Sarri, very possession-based. You know, the football's a lot slower. It's a lot more, but it's built up. You know, there is a plan to attract the opposition and then kind of, take advantage of the space left in behind the press. And now Lampard, which is just completely different than a 4-3-3, and it's the same formation, but it's a completely different way of playing. I think, now you can see, which was my worry before, was Barkley and Mount. At the end of lockdown, we did have a few turnovers with Kante at DM, despite the really good defensive performances coming from him, is because we didn't have those AMs, those 8s dropping deep to help him out in possession. I think now you're seeing Cove has been immense in the 8 position. Mount is really coming along responsibility-wise, and they're dropping in and helping him. Thiago Silva, we finally got a ball-playing centre-back to help Kante as well, where if Kante's got a man on him, we don't have to pressurize him. We can just bypass him completely and go straight into Mount in the half space. So, for me, it's been a tough time. Lampard's been playing with like 5 different systems since he got here, but now I can finally breathe and just analyze for what's going on now. Do you know what I mean? And hopefully he doesn't change it again, because my brain can't take it anymore. Onto another performance. I think Mendy, he had that mistake in the first part of the game, obviously to let Bamford score. But overall, again, nothing really to talk about after that. What have you made of him in terms of the way he's come in?
Yeah, Mendy's been superb. Just different gravy, man. Different gravy. Like he is literally in the same form that Petr Cech was when he joined the club. Yeah, the same form. They're identical. And even for that goal yesterday, yes, should he have come out that far? You can debate, but I don't necessarily criticize his judgment on that. Especially when Bamford managed to get in between both centre-backs. You expect...
he was one-on-one. Yeah,
he was one-on-one, just like, I got to do something. So he done what he had to do. But fair play to him. Every game that we've seen him, he's impressed, or he's made some crazy saves. His reflexes are what impresses me. For someone that's so tall, and I've said this in multiple reviews now, someone that's so massive, he jumps around like a cat. It's unbelievable. And he always gets to these balls where you just don't think the keeper's going to reach. It's amazing to have a goalkeeper that's so assuring and reassuring, not just for himself and not just for us, but for his defenders and vice versa. Because what we had before was Kepa making the mistake, defenders get a little bit edgy. Or the defense make a mistake, pressures on Kepa. Yeah. Whereas now, they're both bouncing off each other, and it's just fantastic. Mendy, superb.
Yeah, and I think also, which is really two things that have really stood out to me in the last two games is that one, he's brought confidence to the defense, like you've said. We rotated our whole back line against Sevilla, and we kept a clean sheet. That starts with Mendy for me. You know, he put confidence into the team. And second of all, he did make that mistake, if you want to call it that, but I like the fact that he committed to one decision. Too many times last season I saw Kepa, will I come out, will I stay? And he was kind of caught in between the no man's land, and then he couldn't do either. You know, Mendy committed like a confident Neuer and said, I'm coming out and I'm dealing with it. And he didn't deal with it, but it's the thought that counts. You know what I mean? It's Christmas. It's Christmas. Christmas is coming up. I'm seeing all of the comments about Werner. We will be getting onto Werner. Don't worry. We're going up the pitch as per usual. I'm not going to go through every player because I feel like Silva, that's just routine Silva. There's not really too much more to say. You know, Chilwell, routine from Chilwell. Not too much more to say. Solid again. But Zouma and Reece, I think they deserve special mentions. Zouma's our joint top scorer. What are you saying?
How much has he scored? 4. He's scored 4 so far.
Yeah.
Man, a centre-back after 11 games scoring 4 goals. Stick him up front. No, Zuma's been again different class. Zouma, there was always that worry that he would lack the composure because he's got all the attributes. He's physical. He's a beast. He's like a tractor. He just comes straight in. It's like you can't stop it.
Like a tractor, you know. Oh my days! You just made me have a flashback because I lived in Ireland for 5 years, so now the fog was so close. You made me had a massive flashback to like tractors and cows and whatnot. Jesus.
I'm sorry.
South London doing it up mad tonight.
No, real talk. The Reece James as well, though. Reece James, for me, just needs a big mention because I had my doubts last season, and I always said offensively, we know what to expect. He's on the overlap. He's fast. He's got these crosses that lands onto anyone's play. It's unbelievable. But defensively, he would be out of position. He wouldn't get stuck in as much. Whereas now, he's fixed all of that. And he's fixed all of that to another level. Like now, we are literally on the way to
freedom.
I don't want to say I don't want to say he's going to become better than Trent Alexander-Arnold. But
I will.
It's heading there. It's heading there. I obviously now, you know what? Like recently, I have been saying we've got to be cautious. We can't get too carried away. So I'm of that mindset now. But it's heading there. He's a beast. He's a beast, and he's developing so quickly. So yeah, man, he deserves different mention as well.
Do you know what it is with Reece is that I'm seeing a new grit, arrogance, and strength.
Yeah, confidence.
Yes, we knew he was strong. Hulk got bounced in China from a Wigan player. That doesn't happen every year. Do you know what I mean? That doesn't happen. However,
did you see how he manhandled Bamford yesterday as well?
Oh,
there we are.
Right into the veins, baby. Do you know what I mean? It was unbelievable. Like, and the look afterwards, after he shrugged him off with one arm, was just like, don't ever do that again.
Yeah. He just looked at him like, yo, I made it at Chelsea. You didn't. No, you're wrong.
Do you know what it was? It was actually really, like, it was such a moment because it was 2 Cobham eras clashing, like your Boga, Bamford, McEachran. Who else was on that list? Maybe Masunda.
Yeah.
So many talent. There was a talented crop, you know? And then you've got this crop with like Mount, Reece, and they've made it. And it if someone can get an edit of that moment, I've got a caption for it. That was like, it was so like, it stood out for me so much, and he just dominated that right hand side. And he had moments like last season, like you said, he had a masterclass against Zaha against Palace at home where he completely destroyed him. But then he had other moments where his position was a bit off. Now this season, he just seems to be so assured. Like he's just pushing people off the ball and he's so commanding. He reminds me of Ivanovic, but then he can cross. It's nuts.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think of that. No, you know what I think it is? When I look back, I honestly believe there's a fitness thing happening. Yeah. Because especially when you concur with the fact that we outran Leeds United, or now we look, defensively a lot more solid. Everyone's playing their role. I honestly think that comes down to fitness. When you look at Reece James last season, for example, defensively he wouldn't get stuck in, or he'd leave himself exposed a little bit. If you're sharper and you're fitter and you're stronger, you're going to keep up. If you've got the football brain, you just will keep up. And now we're not seeing it from Reece, we're seeing it from everyone. So I think it's everyone that's starting to peak at the same time, whilst everyone's getting fitter and Lampard's getting the best out of the team now. So Yeah, honestly, I think credit to the coaching as well.
Yeah, and I can't applaud Reece James enough. We've seen those crosses coming in from the right hand side against Tottenham and other opponents. He's so consistent with his technique, and it was great to see Giroud capitalize on that and give him the assist. I think that's only his second assist of the season. He should be on like 5 minimum.
He's had a lot of crosses into the box that should have been finished.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's cool.
Respect to the tractors and cows, Brexit and British way of life. You jokers, man. You jokers. There's a comment here on Bamford. I do want to speak about Bamford in a positive light for a second. I think we can relate to this as Chelsea fans with Tammy. And I think Tammy's come in for a lot of criticism over the last couple of, after Tottenham. It's an emotional game. He missed chances. And I think Bamford is maybe, a good example to bounce off, is that he had loans at Middlesbrough and Burnley. He didn't do pretty well in the Premier League when he had his previous takes, but he's coming to his prime now, 27 years old. I think he's on 6 goals this season. Maybe 8 goals this season, I believe, actually. When I looked in my preview, he had 7. So 8 goals this season, and he's playing well for Leeds. Do you know what I mean? And I think with Tammy, it just goes to show as you get older, you fill out a little bit more, you understand the game, your intelligence goes up. And I think, we've seen that with Giroud. I think we need to be a bit, easier on Tammy. He's copped a lot in the last few weeks, but I feel like, Bamford is a good point to really stick on, where he's developed quite clearly. And I think, Tammy's scoring goals, you know what I mean? In the Premier League, he got, I think, 15 goals with no penalties last season. So he's doing better than Bamford was. Do you know what I mean? So that's a little point to remember when we speak about these young players developing. I want to talk about Mount, because he got man the match. Reece James wasn't even in the poll, which is a disgrace from Chelsea admin. Needs to fix up immediately.
Yeah, that's true, man.
Talk to me about Mount. What a performance he had. He set the record. You definitely saw the stat, didn't you, as well? For
which
chances
one?
Created. Chances created, I think he was 7. So that's the most in 5 years in an individual game for a Chelsea player. That's including the likes of Fabregas that were here as well.
Wow. No, I didn't hear that.
Yeah. 7 chances created in the game. It's mad. Do you know what I mean? It's
That's
mad.
amazing.
Yeah. So
that's amazing.
What a player.
Yeah, Mason Mount, he's growing into the role. Obviously, at the start of the season when we were playing with a 4-2-3-1, you just knew that he's not a winger, he's not a number 10. So, you got to find the role for him. And I just knew he was out of position. When we went back to a 4-3-3, he is an 8. Like, that is him. He is off that position. And if he's going to play anywhere else, he's just not going to be as effective. Whereas in this role, we're getting the best out of him. And it looks like we're getting the best out of Kovacic. Havertz can play there as well. We know this. But Mason Mount is growing. He's growing really, really, really well. And as you said, if he's creating, these many chances, he's getting into positions like he is. And he's only just getting started. When we think about this, next season, the season after that, what's it going to be like? Is it going to be a reincarnation of Lamps? I don't know. We'll wait and see. But, I don't like to compare like that, but sometimes it just feels
you can't help it sometimes, because there is so many similarities, like the work ethic, the willingness to improve. Lampard wasn't made. Lampard's like Rome. He weren't built in a day. Do you know what I mean? Like he grew and elevated his game as time went on, and that went through sheer hard work on the training pitch.
Yeah, no, you're right. The thing with Mount is the amount of time he likes to get himself involved, because there are some performances that you see from some players where it looks flawless, but they haven't actually been involved that much. Yeah. So you'll see them, for example, say if a player created like 2 or 3 chances, but that was it. Apart from that, they just didn't touch the ball. Technically, it's a flawless performance. But when you look at Mount, you realize he does lose possession. Sometimes he gets caught out. He misplaces the pass, but at the same time, he's creating 7 chances. So the amount of times he's on the ball is literally like it's always. It's just constant.
He had a very Ziyech game. Do you know? He had a very Ziyech game.
Yeah. So it's honestly a thing of, look, you're getting the job done. You're 100%. Being super effective. That's all I want from you. And that's great. And his physical abilities is getting better and better. And again, I go back to the fitness point. We know he's known for pressing, the energy he brings, but the fact that he's getting fitter alongside all of the players getting fitter as well. Yeah. It's crazy when you think to the lengths that he can go. He's only 20, 20. He's 20, isn't he?
He's going to be 21 soon, or it might be 21
no,
already.
He's 21. He's 21 already.
Yeah,
he's 21
it's Reece
already.
that's going to be 21 soon. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's still really early for him. It's still really early. He's not peaked. He's nowhere near his peak. So I'm looking forward to seeing where he's going to go. It's going to be mad.
I think when it comes to Mount, there's so many parts of his game that's encouraging. I think, the chances created, that's a lot of criticism he got last season for not being able to deliver the final ball. Like I said, he had a very Ziyech game. In my halftime talk, when I do my filming, he was dispossessed in that first half 11 times. But that also tells me he was the one trying to make things happen, trying to make the key passes. His corner delivery is to a point, superb. Man, so consistent.
Superb,
do you know what I mean? Compared to what we've had in previous years with a certain Arsenal player that we...
It's so good that we can get a ball into the box now regularly.
Beat the first man. It's incredible.
It's amazing.
Now Chelsea are scoring from set pieces. I wonder what the difference is. Do you know what I mean?
No, you know what? Sorry, about Mount, I do want to say... I don't think he shoots enough, and I know he can shoot.
Yes,
I want to see him shoot. I don't know if that's Lampard. It might be Lampard. It might be, the system, what we're trying to do. Maybe shooting from out the box isn't what we're trying to do, even though Lamps was so good at it. But he can shoot. I want to see maybe if that's one improvement for him to make, is for him to take some more digs from out the box.
He took some shots against Tottenham. There's a really good save from Reece against Tottenham as well. And I've seen him, that long shot against West Brom. I've seen him whack a few free kicks, and the one against Wolves on the final day, I think he hit the post last season quite a few times from long range as well. He's getting there. And I think for the fact that the manager's Lampard, so there's no better person to coach him. And then Mount himself, I definitely know he's got shooting tech. So I think that's the next thing. That's the last thing now in his game, where we're going to see that more and more often as the season goes on. And then really you're looking at a player that's actually very complete for that role. I think it's perfect, because you look at him, right, and the way he slots in with Kante defensively to help him out. As Kante gets older and maybe his mobility, which is, by the way, it's like Ronaldo losing his form, like in terms of Kante's mobility. You're so high that you have so far to fall. So even when I speak about Kante's mobility maybe dropping off, it's still going to be better than everybody else's, right? But
that's true. Yeah.
No better person than Mount to take those percentages to make the pie whole again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As Kante just starts to go down, man just comes up. It's just, you never really lose the pie.
It's a perfect blend. Exactly, yeah. You keep yourself with a whole pie.
The analogies being cooked up here are beautiful. You only get this shit in South London.
Yeah, that's just about to say. I was just about to say.
Oh man. Well, I'm not gonna wait any longer, because the people have been crying out for it. They want us to speak on a certain German. We'll speak on them both. We'll start with Kai. I was about to say which one. I'll speak about Kai first, just to piss everybody off, right? Because I know Timo is the one that everyone wants to talk about. But Kai, he was quite off the pace. I felt like he wasn't great in that first half, and it was screaming out for that Kova substitution. But as a player, I still feel like I still have such confidence. I don't know about you. I have so much confidence in the fundamentals, right? There's no weakness really for me in his game. He's got the pass, he's got the vision, he's got the shooting, the heading ability with his frame, the strides, the defensive ability to get back into shape. And I look at how Mount's progressed from last season to this season under Lampard, how Kovacic progressed from Sarri to Lampard. Lampard knows midfielders. That's the one thing he knows. He knows defense, maybe he had to get Anthony Barry in, but he knows midfielders. I think Kai, as the season goes on, as traditionally anyway, he gets better as the season goes on. He did the same for Leverkusen. And then second season, I think he's going to blow up, man. I still think I've still got so much confidence in him. I'm
fully with you. And I done a video on this today, actually. So about Kai Havertz and about having faith in what he's bringing and what he's going to bring. Yeah. There seems to be a thing, and this applies to Havertz and to Timo Werner, so both. There seems to be a culture, not just in football, but in our society in 2020, where people want too much too soon. They're like, it has to come now. And, it's just the way of society nowadays. If you want something, it's at your fingertips. You got a mobile phone, boom, 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 it's sorted. You don't need to work hard for anything anymore. It's mad. So that patience is disappearing. We need to be, logical and realize that in the football world and in sport specifically, you need time, you need a process. It's impossible for you to not go through that process. You have to remember Havertz is only 21. He's younger than Mount. He's younger than Abraham. just because he's got a £72 million price tag, which he didn't ask for, but he's kind of warranted because of his performances at Bayer Leverkusen. You can't automatically just say, he's going to, turn a switch on, boom, he's going to be prime Zidane.
Yeah, facts.
It's he will come into it, and you have to realize he's just been out, like he's just been away. Man was at home, like chilling, training from home, away from the squad because he
coughing and everything. You know what I mean?
Like it's mad. So you need to give the time. You need to allow for the circumstances to fit in. And when he gets back to playing 90 minutes week in, week out, like he was for a small portion, and in that portion he scored a goal and got 2 assists in 3 games. So he made 3 goal contributions. He will come good. He will come good. I am certain.
He's got too many weapons in Arsenal to not come good. Low block, he's got the pass, counter-attack, he's got the stride. He's got everything. Like, for me, when a player is that complete, and they're spoken of in Germany, which, by the way, is a great talent pool. You know what they're talking about in Germany. Do you know what I mean? Bayern Munich would have gone for this guy the season after if we didn't get him. We know their eye for talent as well. They were comparing him with Ballack and Ozil in terms of the mold in between, the next big thing in Germany. You don't get these shouts if you're dead. Do you know what I mean? You're not dead food.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're definitely a five-star meal, 100%. You got to be. And with Kai, I wanted him to start against Leeds personally, but maybe, a lot of people said COVID, and maybe they were right in the sense that maybe I underestimated COVID. He's just come back from it. That takes a big toll on the body, and maybe he's maybe it's going to take time for him to get back to it. And I think it's going to be interesting because maybe Kova should have started against Tottenham, and maybe Kai is maybe better suited to the Krasnodar game coming up. It's going to be an easier game. Maybe he can find some form. It's going to be an opportunity to rotate players that are not in form or players that need minutes. So that game could suit him as well. So yeah, man, I think we have to. We certainly have to. We have to give time. I think I have to respond to this comment here. I've just seen it at the corner of my eye. Kai is slow. Kai is not slow. Like, if you're talking about pace, he is not slow. I don't know.
He runs like a horse.
Yeah, I don't know about this miles per hour thing that he was doing in Germany, but it was definitely quick. I've seen stats. Do you know what I mean? He's definitely quick. So if you think Kai is slow, then you're in for a shock, my friend.
I want to say just if that comment is based on the couple of games that we've seen him in. Right. Yeah. You have to understand, because even if like for example, Ronaldo, he tested positive and he had to self-isolate, didn't he? But he was fine. Like, he was on his Insta and he was showing people, I'm training, I feel fine, I'm healthy, I'm not sick, but I've tested positive, so I got to stay away. You have to understand the rules here in this country anyway. If you test positive, you need to stay away from you have to stay away from the squad for a total of 14 days, or maybe it's a bit less. Maybe it's 10 days. But even so, there's bubbles. So you can't just jump into match training, even at Cobham. You need to train by yourself, or you need to train within your small bubble.
Yeah, and that's never going to be as intense as you do with the team.
That's not going to be as intense, exactly. You cannot get match fitness training like that. So you have to understand the circumstance. So maybe, he'll come good. He will come good.
And people speak about some people think he's lazy because of the way that he moves on the ball. I think it's actually brilliant that we've got different types of profiles on the ball. We've got Ziyech, who can do anything out of nothing. We've got Kai, who maybe sometimes will slow the game down and get the team to take a breather and try and control and dictate tempo of the football match. You've got Mount, who will move the ball very quickly. You've got Kante, who will move the ball very quickly. You've got different types of profiles, and that's what a team needs. I don't want our team to be 100% miles per hour all the time, because that in this fixture congestion as well is almost suicide. Do you know what I mean? We need to be able to control games, change tempos, and take breathers. And I think I've seen an instance where Mount was saying calm down to Thiago. Thiago is about to make pushing people forward to make a big switch, and Mount was like, no, calm down. There's some tired. I'm fine, but there's some other guys who are a bit tired, so chill. Do you know what I mean? So and thank you. What is it? Hold on a second. I just seen this comment. Let me not go past it. Thank you so much, TMX, for joining us from Younes's channel. Everybody's welcome here. Do you know what I mean? Thank you so much. Bringing that clout.
I'm glad some people listened and jumped over. So yes, TMX, well done, man.
Thank you so much for joining us. And we have to move on to the front three and the other German that everybody wants us to discuss. Timo, I'm going to give my thoughts. What do you think about Timo at the moment? He's in a rough patch of form.
Yeah, what's crazy about Timo is the fact that he's still missing these mad chances, which I'm going to mention in a sec. But even with that, he's contributing and he's getting assists, and he's still not allowing it to get to his head, and he's still persevering, and he's he's still contributing, getting into the right positions, and that's what you want to see. Overall, that's what you want to see. Like yesterday's game, for example, it wasn't a bad game. He did not have a bad game. He missed an absolute sitter. Like, it
was one of the misses of the season, probably.
Yeah, I can't understand how he missed it. I'm not going to lie. Like, that was full on. I swear, 5 minutes, my jaw was just open. Like, what have you just done? How have you missed that? If he left it, it was going in. Like, that's how
it's true. It's true, yeah.
he made us
touch it. It reminded me of when Nani touched it for Ronaldo and then he was offside for Portugal. That's what it reminded me of. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the fact that there's been a few games now where he's missed a sitter. Yes, that is a little bit, concerning. But when you look at players of the past that have missed that and just dropped form completely, whereas with Timo, he's not. He's still getting those goals and he's still getting those assists. And when you look at what he's done for us so far, it's still brilliant. So I still personally want to see him as a centre forward, which isn't easy at the moment because a certain Frenchman's come in the way. And made it difficult because I honestly, with Giroud, I'd want to play Giroud. I don't want to mess this up. This is great. But I want to see Timo up front. I want to see him as a centre forward. So till that happens, I'm just going to take it really lightly on him. And even with Timo, I'm fully confident we will see Timo banging in goals. I am sure.
For me, criticism heavy criticism doesn't start until they've had their first full season at minimum adaptation.
Absolutely.
Adaptation tax, baby.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? I think give him a full season in England first, and then second season he needs to be more consistent. But one thing I will say with Timo is that the misses, the chances that he's missing, the goal, the chance against, I think, Rennes, the chance, yesterday, these aren't down to position. These are open goals. Exactly, he should be putting them in. So I don't want to make that excuse for him in terms of position. And personally, I felt like Giroud would be the perfect player for him to play off. I think Hazard spoke about it when he was here. Giroud's the perfect person to knock the ball into. Mbappe and Griezmann thrive off of him for France. And Timo's a very similar player where he likes to make off the ball runs. He likes to run into space. And I thought, if anything, having the rest in midweek and then having Giroud, he should have had almost borderline masterclass against Leeds. Leeds play a high line. So for me, that was the perfect game for Timo. So I was quite surprised for him not to score and have a great game. I think the one thing I'll say of Timo is that it's interesting. We got to do it on a merit situation where he has, created a great assist for Newcastle and against Newcastle, that run, very similar to the assist he created for Pulisic, but the overall game was still underwhelming for me. And I think when you've got someone like Hudson-Odoi, Pulisic knocking on the door as well, these guys are playing well. Pulisic is just coming back. We know, for me, he's, in my opinion, our best left winger when he's fully fit. Hudson-Odoi has been playing well for some weeks and he still can't get into the squad. Yep. For me, maybe it's time to see if you bench Timo in a game where you expect Timo to start. Does that, light a fire up in his arse? And I'm not saying that he needs motivating, because I do feel like he's a player that it doesn't need motivation. He's a player that Lampard brings in players with the right mentality. But I think anybody can get dropped. I don't think anybody is given a right to start in this team. We've got a lot of attacking quality. We've got a lot of players that are banging on the door, and I think it's only fair to the likes of Hudson-Odoi and to Pulisic, who are starting to play well. That Timo, if he's not going to be putting away the chances, which he is there to do, he's not a winger. He's second striker for me, so he does have to score the goals. That's what I expect from him. If he's not going to be putting them away, then I do think sometimes you have to say to yourself, right, you have to sit out, and I think that's only fair for everyone else. The great comment here, Arsenal super chat. Thank you so much. Arsenal getting relegated. I love this game.
You know what? It's a possibility at this rate. It's a possibility, man. I'm not even going to write that off.
Do you remember when Chelsea under Mourinho were like 15th as well? We lost to Leicester.
That was bad.
That's what Arsenal are right now. That's where they are right now.
Exactly it. Yeah. Except the only thing at that time is we had no idea what was going on. Like, we didn't know what was the reason. At least with Arsenal, they kind of have a reason as to why they are where they are. We had no idea. We were all lost. Ask the players, Roman, Jose, we all lost. So good luck, Arsenal.
Yeah. And this is a good comment. Timo's still young. I think Timo came to us similar age to when Drogba came to us, and again, I don't like to draw these comparisons, but I think sometimes perspective is important. I think it's always important. And again, Drogba was definitely not up and running immediately consistent in his first few seasons. Yeah. So different players, but again, one thing we underestimate is this team haven't had a pre-season for themselves to be completely fluid and understand each other's patterns of movement. And I think one thing that you can see with our signings is that even though I didn't maybe want all of them individually as first choices, I had a few other targets in my mind. One thing I will say and give credit to Frank and Cech and the rest of the team, each signing complements another. Timo's off the ball runs on the left complements Ziyech's crossfield ball. And I think we haven't seen any of that kind of stuff. And I think, the longer the season goes on, we're going to start to see more fluid plays and one-touch football and things that, where it's just they're instinctive because the players are used to playing with each other. So give it time, ladies and gentlemen, give it time.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And there's going to be a massive chemistry factor that comes into play because we got a lot of games. We got a lot of games, man, especially this month and into January. There's going to be rotation, but, everyone's going to be discovering new bonds with players as the season goes on. So I'm fully looking forward to it. And that comparison that you made with Drogba, for example, back in 2004, which is a comparison I made in my video earlier today. It's exactly that. Back then, when Drogba had what was let's say, good season, it wasn't blockbuster, but
10 goals.
Then, exactly, yeah. Whereas now, if Timo's on 8, it's mad. It's already. But the fact he's still getting criticised, back then, no one was criticising Didier. Why?
Yeah.
Because back then there was a mentality of giving time and having patience. And as I said, I think it's a society thing. I think now more people are getting drawn to the fact that they need things immediately. We need to get rid of that mentality, and you'll see it. We'll see in May. We'll see in May, innit? We'll talk in May.
Yeah, and on this comment here as well, I actually, even though I said Timo potentially needs to be taken out of the team for his own, just for the rewarding of others, form or good performances that have come in recently, I would still start Timo against Krasnodar. And even though I would disagree, I don't think his position striker to winger makes too much difference because I think he's a hybrid. I think he's an in-between. So I don't think he's a natural lone striker, and I don't think he's a natural winger, but I think he's a second striker. And I think he's a hybrid where he'll take up, even if he goes up front, we'll still see him out wide sometimes because he likes to drift and take up those positions. He did it for Leipzig a lot. We saw him on that run. Pulisic came on and immediately Timo went to the right. And he's comfortable out there because even for Leipzig, he'd drift out wide and it doesn't matter which wing. His game is not going to change too much. He's still going to try and attack space regardless of what position he's in. So I feel like, this is maybe why Liverpool wanted him. They like to play with the centre forward. And I think I think Timo would have been used out wide. I really do. I think he would have been your Mane and Salah that run off the ball into the channels and try and get him behind for the 1v1 situations. And I think, I don't think positions with Timo I don't think if we put him up front, we're going to see a whole new player. In saying that, I would play him up front against Krasnodar. And I want to get your front three as well, Younes, because I would like to see Timo, Pulisic and Hudson-Odoi against Krasnodar.
The Krasnodar thing, obviously, we're top. We've secured top spot. Yeah. So we can fully experiment and fully rotate and, give rest to those that need it and really manage it correctly because December is mad. December has a total of 8 matches. It's literally 2 every week on average. And when we look at Christmas Day or just after, so Boxing Day on the 28th, we've got to play 2 games within 48 hours. It's mad. So it has to be managed correctly. So personally, I would take full advantage of the 2 group games we still have. Well, no, actually, of the Krasnodar game that we still have. And it's a good suggestion. If they can manage it, if they can manage the fitness and they can manage that level, then yes, your suggestion I'd fully agree with.
You got 5 subs, so take them all off at 60 minutes.
Exactly. However, I would like to, Tammy, to an extent, does deserve an opportunity. Because I don't see him playing in the Premier League anytime soon, unless it's going to be serious rotation. Because Giroud's impressing. We've got Werner on the pitch. I don't know. But maybe Tammy against Krasnodar would be my preference. Or even try Werner as a centre forward for Krasnodar and try and get his confidence up to par. And then the Premier League game after that brings Giroud back in.
It's one of those ones where I think everybody's going to have a different lineup because there are so many options available to us. Some people may even start Gilmour, or maybe
I would.
Yeah, so it's a free hit, and it's great that we have one. Every time we go into the group stage in Champions League, I always hope for a last day free hit because it allows us to utilize the squad, especially being out of the Carabao Cup. I feel like we need this. Do you know what I mean? As a squad. So I'm going to put a shout out there. Let me know in the comments if you agree. Just put gloves. Just put the glove emoji in the chat. I'd start Petr Cech.
Wow. No, you know what? That is such a good idea because if he plays, he gets a medal. Yes.
Now you know what I'm thinking. No, we're not playing Kepa. Nah. Because I've spoken about Kepa and I feel like his value just depreciates when he plays. And I don't want to be too harsh, but that is how I feel. I don't feel like there's any value in playing Kepa. Kepa's going in January regardless.
Yeah,
and I think just keep him under wraps in cotton wool. Make sure he doesn't get injured or anything. There's nothing like, even for the team, I don't feel like the defense is more confident when Kepa comes in. That just makes them more nervous. I think one thing I do think is that if you play Petr Cech, it's nostalgic and he can keep a clean. I want to see how good he is. Do you know what I mean? I want to see how good. I want to see how good Petr Cech is. So I'd play Petr Cech against Krasnodar because it's a free hit. There's nothing on the line, and
there'll be
nostalgia.
There. Yeah, there'll be fans there. It'll be nostalgic. And as I said, if we do somehow, I'm saying somehow, I'm really going on a stretch here, but if we somehow won the Champions League, Cech gets another medal. As simple as that.
And I think the fans are allowed. Fantastic. So what an opportunity now. Fans are allowed to give 2,000 people give a standing ovation to Petr Cech. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, that would be mad. That would be mad.
It would be mental. It would be mental. Like, for me, I don't get anything out of playing Kepa or Caballero. Like, I've seen them. I know their quality. I know their level. But Petr Cech, people forget Petr Cech is younger than Caballero. Great point. Thank you so much, Ryan, for the donation as well. People forget this. People forget Petr Cech is younger than Caballero. Like, I'm not saying to dash in a 17-year-old who we don't know. I think Petr Cech potentially is actually quite reliable. We heard the reports that he's been training better than Kepa and Caballero before Mendy got here. I wouldn't be surprised if Petr Cech keeps a clean sheet. I don't see why not.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I wouldn't either, man. Yeah, it'd be. I wouldn't have thought of it, but you made a really good point. I'd play Cech. Or at 100%. least bring him on. Like, at least, because there's 5 subs. Half an hour to go. All right, you know what? Goalkeeper come off. Check, mate, you're going on.
Yeah, at the bare minimum.
At the bare minimum, yeah.
At the bare minimum. People are saying it would ruin Kepa's mental. I personally think Kepa's mental is already gone.
It's already ruined. He's going.
It's already ruined.
He will go. He's going.
Yeah. His head, for me, his head is not here anymore. You don't watch, as a person that, is on the wages he's on, cost 70+ million. Again, not in his control, but these are the factors we have to take into account when you've been here for more than one season and now you're looking at value for money. He's seeing Mendy, put up these stats. People forget players are not stupid, right? They know their own stats. Kepa knows his stats from last season. Kepa knows Mendy's stats this season. Kepa knows Mendy's top for clean sheets. Kepa knows the situation. So I don't think his confidence could be any more on the floor, in my opinion, like after seeing what Mendy's been able to come in and do and just completely dislodge him. When we signed Mendy, people was like, he's going to be competition for Kepa. That now sounds idiotic.
Yeah, it does. At the time, it was legit, but now, you're right. With Kepa, I kind of understand where that comment's coming from, because if I'm Kepa, right, and at the moment Mendy's playing much better than me, I know my chances are really low. I'm still of that mindset of, no, you know what? Let me keep fighting. Let me try and let me, just do something. But if I see Cech, who's at boardroom level now, for God's sakes, come on the pitch and play in front of me, I'm like, yo, final now in the coffin. I'm gone, guys. See you later. So I can kind of understand it, but I think regardless, he will go out on loan. And then later on, he'll go on a permanent. I think it's done.
Some of the comments are saying he's not in the squad. So if he's not in the Champions League, is he only in the Premier League squad? Because I thought he was in both of them. Let me know in the chat what it is. If not, then hey, well, we've just done propaganda for nothing. But I do want to see Cech at some point.
Oh, you know what? No, that's a good point. I don't think he's in the Champions League.
He's not in the squad. That's so sad.
He's definitely in the Premier League squad.
He is.
And that he's there as a 26th man.
Do you know why I got confused? It's because I remember finding out on a Champions League night that he was in the squad for the Premier League. I think it was against Sevilla or maybe Rennes. It was one of those nights where it was a Champions League night and people were like, oh my days, Petr Cech's in the squad. And I was like, what? And it blew up. It blew up.
It did.
It blew up.
Now, you know what? In that case, then, when we win the league, with 3-4 games to go, just play Petr Cech. Play Petr Cech. He plays the last 3 games.
Some are saying he's in it. Some are saying he's not. I'll find out after the stream. But regardless, Petr Cech needs to play this season. And if it's not Krasnodar, then it needs to. That's just extra motivation to wrap this league up early, people.
Oh yeah, big time, man, big time.
Give us some nostalgia. Oh man, so that's Petr Cech. I mean, look, regardless, I want to see him this season. I think he's been instrumental, not even just from a play, potential playing standpoint and leadership standpoint in the dressing room. We've seen pictures of him training Mendy and the goalkeepers, but I think from a director of football standpoint now, the signings that have come in, like we said about patience earlier, we can't expect them to all, come off immediately. But however, in saying that, the signings have been to a T, man. When you look at the signings we've been making over, the previous years gone by, the Drinkwaters, the Zappa Costas, the Bubba Rahmans,
Dilla Club legend.
Jabala Bobby. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's so many signings, man. And I'm just such a waste of money down the drain for this club. Do you know what I mean? There's been so many moments where they haven't done a mentality check. Do you know what I mean? Of these players. Or embedding into the Premier League check. Do you know what I mean? There's certain things that you got to check. It's like when you get to the airport and you go through security. They didn't check the bags with some of these players. They just let them run through. Do you know what I mean? And this season, I can confirm they have checked the bags.
Not for real. Our transfer business has been mad. Going from that quality, as you said, of Zappa Costa, Gilabodji, flipping Drinkwater, who's still picking up a wage. I don't know how is this man still getting paid? I don't know.
Yeah.
He had to make a compilation of what he's done in his career just to try and attract new attention. Like, it's mental. It's that big for him. But to see all of that happen, and now, Werner, Havertz, Chilwell, Ziyech, Mendy, flipping now, and we're not done. You watch the next window, the window up. Yeah. We will continue to be playing FIFA career mode. It's going to be
January's incoming, and someone said Mendy's only 28. To be honest, look at his face. There's no wrinkles. He looks like Kante when he smiles. I thought he was younger.
It's the African diet. It's the African diet.
Exactly. I thought he was younger, if anything. So I want to answer this super chat as always. They have to get priority to bless them souls. Thank you so much for your donation to the super chat. What are your thoughts on Arsenal being absolutely atrocious, and how do you think Willian is feeling about not taking the 2 years? Do you know what? Yeah, that right there is a beautiful comment. First of all,
fantastic.
we did speak about Arsenal, but we have to rehash it. It's hilarious. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, you can only bully them so much, but it is hilarious.
No, you know what? I feel that with Arsenal, even just before this game, to be honest, I was of a mindset of, no, you know what? This is getting too much for them. This is not even fun anymore. I honestly feel bad for Arsenal fans now. This is torture. Today, I wanted Arsenal to win, and even I got peed off. After one game, I was fuming with them. What's it been like?
How did their fans get through it?
I don't know. I don't know how they're still surviving. It's mental, but man. But Arsenal, it's a shambles. But in terms of Willian, because we can talk on Willian because we know.
Yeah.
It's his loss. It's his loss. Not financially, and maybe not even in terms of playing. Because if he was still at Chelsea, I don't believe he'll be playing as much. But in terms of actually being at somewhere that's going to be achieving
something special,
exactly, well, that's his loss. As I've said, he's still going to be racking in the bank. He's still got his restaurant. He's got his business partner in the same team with him, David Luiz. Whether it be on the pitch or whether it be in the restaurant, they're together and they're close, so it's good for him. But in terms of achievements, not this season, mate.
For me, Willian's time's done here. Do you know what I mean? He's won everything he needed to win. I'm happy he didn't sign the contract, so I'm happy with him. Because for me, there was an element of seniority when it came to set pieces last season. For me, it was clear Mount was the better corner taker. It was clear Mount was the better free kick taker. Reece James the better set piece taker. However, Willian would still be over the corners, and I felt like it was just down to seniority and it was down to pecking order. And I'm glad that he's not here hogging the corners anymore, because as you can see, we're scoring from set pieces now. Do you know what I mean? In open play,
it happened in the Tottenham game earlier on.
Exactly. And I tried to preach so much last season when people were like, Willian should stay. That was probably Willian's best season in a Chelsea shirt, in my opinion. And I still didn't want him to stay because I knew our right-hand side could be so much better. And now you're looking at Reece James and Ziyech, and you're seeing what I personally had envisioned in my head, that not Ziyech particularly, because he wasn't my first choice, but even still, I knew Ziyech would just be better than Willian. Anybody for me on the right-hand side cutting in on the left foot was just going to bring a better dynamic than Willian. I just felt like we had so much more to gain on that right-hand side than we was getting. And I knew we could go up a good few gears, and we have. So, do you know what I mean? Now that we've got Havertz and Ziyech, both of them are equally as comfortable out on the wing. You've got Reece James who can overlap. That is how it was meant to be. So I couldn't be happier personally.
And the fact that we're already speaking these sort of praises about our right-hand side, and it's only early December, I'm looking forward to when this really gels, when we don't have such a hectic schedule. We get into February, March. Maybe it's going to be really important because hopefully we'll be in line to try and win the league. But when it gets, to those sort of stages and we've really got our rhythm going, I can't wait to see what we're going to have, man. It's going to be mental.
Breaking news on Chelsea Twitter, coming live on MAH YouTube channel. Jimenez has liked a tweet regarding a transfer to Chelsea.
Oh my God.
We know how this goes, ladies and gentlemen. They're spamming the chat with it, absolutely going insane. See, this is why I need graphics. I would have had alarm bells and breaking news and yellow and black signs on, deadline day, Sky Sports all over the screen. You know how Havertz did it? We've spoken about Jimenez before and his want to play under Frank Lampard. Haaland as well at Dortmund. The pull power never stops, ladies and gentlemen. And we know Chelsea in the market for a young centre-back. And hey, it's looking like Jimenez he's trying to be the guy.
Jimenez would be insane, man.
Incredible.
Obviously, the only reservation was, oh my God, yeah, he did.
Yeah, he really did. He really did.
Wow. Day 44 of tweeting, Jose Maria Jimenez until Chelsea signs him, and he liked it.
Yeah. And the thing is with Chelsea is that we know that they're going to continue to spend. They've been linked with Alaba. They've been linked with Jimenez briefly as well. Haaland has been the topic of Chelsea Twitter for quite some time about bringing in a potent striker who really just finishes every chance. And that was a comment that I clicked on earlier, but I didn't get to go on to. I'm not going to lie, Haaland, as a Chelsea team, we're comfortably winning games and we're still missing chances. Someone like Haaland up front would be disgusting. Disgusting.
Quadruple.
Can you win 2 Champions Leagues in one season?
You know what? Yeah, no one's won the treble since United. If we get Haaland, it's happening.
Yeah, I honest to God, if we get Haaland while we still have Thiago Silva, I think his release clause takes effect not this summer but the summer after. So we are asking Thiago Silva to maybe go longer than expected, which is maybe why we're getting linked with Jimenez and players like that. But if we was to get Haaland while Thiago Silva's still in the building, shit could go left for everybody else very quickly.
It would be. I can't even think about it. It'd be mental. It'd be mad. He's so lethal. We've seen what he's doing in Germany. Like, he's killing it. Like, it's unbelievable. Anything he touches, his speed is ridiculous. You see not recently, but one of his goals in the Champions League, I think it was at the restart, where he went from his goal, just ran at 100 miles an hour, literally all the way up until the other end, slotted it in, and you're thinking, this guy's just absolutely lethal. So, yeah, man, that would be crazy. And Jimenez, the only thing I worry about Jimenez is his release clause and how much he's actually going to cost, which is why I was a bit reserved when we were linked with Thiago Silva and all of that, because we were apparently going in for him, but he's going to cost like 109 million or something mad. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, another good point is that he is quite injury prone. Someone's saying in the chat as well, and potentially that could be a debate as well. I think the Spanish teams financially are not always the most stable, especially in these times. So I think the price could be negotiated. We know how strong Mourinho is in these negotiations, but yeah, man. Someone said, I hope we get Lewandowski. That's not going to happen. I think Haaland would be the guy I'd get. He's for this team that are building a young team going forward for the next decade. I think Haaland he would signify what we're trying to do as a club. Do you know what I mean? It would make a lot more sense.
He's young as well. Very young,
extremely young. Alaba's been linked. I think, what's your thoughts on Alaba? I haven't seen your thoughts on Alaba so far.
Oh man, if that happens, I'd want that to happen. Easily. It's so cheap because it's a free deal.
Run out of contract.
It's a free transfer. It's end of contract. So imagine Alaba, 28 years old, on a free deal, can play. Is a centre back, but can fill in as a left back. I mean, the circumstances are perfect. We need a centre back for when Thiago Silva steps out of the way. We need someone that can occasionally rotate with Chilwell without having
Yeah.
to call on Alonso or Emerson. But Emerson
100%.
recently done okay. But
100%.
it'd be perfect. And someone of the caliber like Alaba, Bayern Munich, and what he's done, he's been one of the cornerstones of that team. It's mental on a free deal.
Yeah,
it's insane.
We've seen what experience can do in this team with Thiago Silva, and I think another position that people haven't spoken about, and I'd actually say this is probably better for him than the lone DM role with Kante. I think in Mason Mount's position, we're looking at, where he plays for Austria. He plays quite advanced because they want him to get more touches. He's probably their best player. But I think, Chilwell, how many times are we saying that we can't, Emerson has improved, but I still think long-term, potentially, it might be best for him coming into his prime to move on and play regular first-team football. We have to take into account the players' wants and needs as well. Alonso certainly dusted in this team, in my opinion, after that team bus incident. And then you've got the situation of Thiago Silva, who said very well that he needs a rest. So people speaking about Alaba, he's not going to be a bench player. I don't think he's going to be anyway, because he's going to be a player that occupies so many different positions that he will just get enough minutes to satisfy him as well. And I think Mason Mount's position potentially as well. He plays advanced for Austria. Mason Mount is the more industrious defensive 8. And I think, he understands that role of the pitch as well. He's very good on the ball. So if we're speaking about Reece James coming into midfield, then we definitely can have a player like Alaba in midfield, because he's more experienced and he's definitely done it before as well. So similar to a Kimmich, these type of players, positionally, I don't worry about them too well. I do think that they can handle different positions, and their game intelligence is really good. So yeah, I would love Alaba personally. I think it would be a great signing for Chelsea, and it's good to have a good blend between experience and youth. You want to get the right experience, and I think Alaba and Thiago are the right experience. Guys, throw in any questions you have for Younes while we're still going on. I've got another super chat here. We're coming towards the last maybe 15-10 minutes of the stream. Who is our current midfield? In your current midfield, would step aside in case Loftus-Cheek comes back into form? I personally, go for it, Younes. What do you think of that?
I was about to say, I honestly, as much as it pains me, I just don't think we're going to see Loftus-Cheek at that level again. I don't know. There's a chance he could, don't get me wrong. Yeah. But that injury, I think, has done damage long term. Like now he's fine and he's fit to play. Yeah. But for him to get back to that intensity and that level that he was under Sarri prior to the madness and the injuries that he got, I just don't see it happening. And especially with the midfield that we have, there's no room. There's just no room. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, Liverpool scored apparently 1-0 to Liverpool. We already know how that's going to go, ladies and gentlemen. But I think when it comes to Loftus-Cheek, I have a small 10% chance where I still feel like he could make it back, and that's really just drawing inspiration from Zouma when he picked up his massive injury against Man United, and he worked back up from Stoke to Everton and back up now to Chelsea, and we've seen him recover. But I have to say it is a long shot. I think
he's a centre back as well.
Yeah, he's a centre back. It's a different position. We know how much running and how much yards you need to put in Lampard's midfield. I think Gallagher is a threat to him as well. He's playing very well at West Brom. The thing is with Loftus-Cheek is there's a lot of competition for his place. I don't think Barkley's going to come back. I think we will, reap the sale on that. We've got Gilmour. I think Declan Rice is almost a formality at this point as well coming in. So there is a lot of midfielders that are going to be vying for those places. Tino Andrin as well is a player that's coming through. Lewis Bate playing very well as well. He's been mentioned as someone that could get a game against Krasnodar potentially off the bench. So the midfield is so stacked that Loftus-Cheek is going to have to do more. He's going to have to do a lot to get back in. It's going to be difficult for him, but we know the quality that he's got. Under Sarri, he showed serious quality. And again, much like Mason, he's just the number 8. I think even at the start of this season, before he went out on loan, I've seen him out wide, and he's just not that type of player, Younes. I feel like he's just box to box.
Yeah, fully box to box. And we saw what he could do especially before the injury, when he was so light-footed. You could see he was like gliding across the midfield. Yeah. But since he's come back from that injury, he looks heavy. He's added 30 kg onto his back, and he's playing with like a rucksack. It's mad. And I don't know if that's just because of maybe he's lost the what's the word? When your muscles are just not, they're underdeveloped, or
loses half a yard
time without it. Yeah, exactly.
His calves, I think. Yeah, I think they spoke about Hudson-Odoi as well. The need to get the strength and the size back into his calves after the injuries that they've both sustained as well.
Exactly. And with Loftus-Cheek, I just don't know. Maybe that injury just took its toll way too much. But it's going to take a long time. Yeah. You know, if it wasn't for the midfielders we have now, I'd say yes, there's a chance, there's hope. But because of the midfielders we have in the team, you know, by the time he gets to 100%, oh mate, the Havertz and Mount and Kovacic and all them lot will just be doing absolute madness. I just don't see the room. I just don't see the room.
In this midfield, if you're looking at who's potentially going to depart from this midfield, I'd say only really Jorginho is in there to make way, just due to the style of play. And you know, he's vice captain, but obviously we know. I think Lampard will try and revert back to his old midfield of playing days, and I think he will want a mobile midfield. And I think that's where Jorginho will fall short, despite how good he is in certain aspects of the game. He's a very specific player. He's a very specific player, and I think Lampard, maybe, you know, he's not the person to get the best out of Jorginho, and vice versa. Jorginho is not the best person to get the best out of Lampard. And if Sarri does go to Arsenal, I think we've seen borderline rumours for Jorginho to Arsenal. We could potentially see that as well. But, you know, like I said, Gilmour, there's so many players coming through, man. So many.
Oh, I was just about to say, if he does go to Arsenal, we can try and rinse Arsenal's bank account and just be like, yo.
50 million.
Not more, mate, 70.
Slap it on. Just slap it on. Ampadu as well. You know, Ampadu can play in midfield. I've been waxing lyricals. Yeah. So we've got a lot of midfielders. A lot. This is a question for Younes. Which Algerian player would fit straight into this Chelsea team? What do you think?
That's a good one. You know what? Prior to his injury, I honestly would have said Atal.
Yeah. Yes. I really liked him.
Atal was amazing. It's such a shame he got that knee injury. He's back now, like he's fine. He's recovered fully.
Is he back to his best?
He's getting there. He's getting there. Obviously, he's still with Nice, and Vieira just got sacked, so it's a bit of a madness over there. But he's definitely one. Mahrez is Mahrez, isn't it? If it honestly wasn't for Ziyech being in the team, and the fact that Mahrez gets underplayed at City, I would honestly be advocating for us to go and get Mahrez. I would, but now we got Ziyech. It's not necessary. There would be him. Defensively, Ben Sebaini of Mönchengladbach, he's turned into a monster over there. Absolute beast. Ben Lamry, who's gone to Lyon, is very John Terry. Like he'll put his head through a concrete wall. Like he's an absolute warrior. It's mental. There are some good talents. There That team is growing into something special. So I'm looking forward to the next African Cup, the World Cup. You'll see a surprise.
You won an African Nations not too long ago? I'm pretty sure did you guys win? Because I do remember celebrations for you on the TL.
Oh mate, tons, mad. It was crazy. It was mad. It
was literally like someone just let a confetti bomb go off on the team. Everything was just like Younes and Algeria and flags, and like everybody was so happy for you. It was like Chelsea Twitter just turned into Algeria Twitter.
It did. I was honestly overwhelmed. I didn't expect that. It was mad. It was something I didn't expect to see in my lifetime. Like you could years ago, I'd be like, no, African Cup, no way. Now we've done it. We're on our way to big things. Like it's crazy. I'm looking forward to the World Cup in Qatar. That's going to be big. That's going to be nuts. Well, guys, listen, it's been Younes. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, man. I've been waiting for this moment to chat with you on my channel. You've delivered. You know what I mean? There's a reason why you're the OG. We already know what time it is out here. Do you know what I mean? Guys, if you're not subscribed to Younes, then really, I don't know what you're doing with your lives in terms of, you know, you've got to come outside, as they say on Twitter. But plug away, Younes. Please let them know where to find you if they didn't know already. No, honestly, thank you so much, man. You can find me on YouTube, obviously on this platform, Younes Talks Football. You can find me on Twitter at YounesHH. My Instagram is the same. And honestly, thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure. South London's finest, not Crystal Palace, you. Up the Palace with the third kit as well. Copy them. I loved it. Up the Palace. But it's been a pleasure, man. It's been good. And it's nice to see you doing your thing on here now. Finally, you've made it to YouTube. You're smashing it. It's amazing, man. Keep going. Thank you so much, man. I mean, we had to make our way eventually. Do you know what I mean? At some point, the Twitter videos, they start to piss people off. A lot of people enjoy them, and then a lot of rival fans hate them. And I'm still making them on Twitter, but I thought, let me come over and disperse my energy, as they say. Guys, Younes will certainly be back again in the future. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to him. I think once I go through the list of people, I'm going to start putting groups together and really like meshing personalities together and doing great debates. But until next time, we're going to be back tomorrow with the roundabout. We missed last week because of
the congestion of fixtures, but we're going to be back outside filming that. And guys, I will see you tomorrow and every day after that. It's a daily grind. In a bit, people. Perfect.